Okay, I heard you guys, I get it. You want me to try different paper. Hey guys, it's Sam, and if you don't already know, I use computer paper a lot for my Copic markers, for my colored pencils, for my graphite, for pretty much all of my projects really, aside from watercolor. You can't really watercolor or paint and stuff on computer paper. It just doesn't work. But for the most part, on the majority of my projects, I use computer paper, and a few of you have taken a little bit of an issue with it. But outside of computer paper, my paper experimentation is pretty limited. I mostly stick to Strathmore, not sponsored. Please sponsor me. I've used Strathmore, Sketch, Mixed Media, Watercolor. I've used pretty much like all of their papers. But I haven't really used anything else, especially anything specific for markers. So for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing this. It hit me in the nose. I'm going to be reviewing Canson's marker paper, and this thing, if it's fitting on frame, is massive. But don't worry, I got it very cheap. It was originally like $30, and the store was going out of business, so I got it for $10. I mean, who's gonna say no to this thing this size with 50 sheets for $10? Not me. Literally. So, you know, it's got a lot of paper in it. And I don't draw that big, so I'm gonna have this for a long time. Alright, so let's dive into this paper. Alright, so I was going into this pretty blind. I've never used marker paper before, and yeah, so I was just kind of gonna play around with a bunch of different tools, so I cut up the papers into much more small, more workable sizes. And I started with pencil just to see how well it would erase. Sometimes, especially like watercolor paper or mixed media paper, there's only so much you can really erase before it kind of just tears stuff apart. But it felt pretty sturdy, and actually I pressed really hard on some of the graphite and it still erased. So that was very impressive for me. I used a black Micron 03 for the pen, and then this is kind of where I started to have a bit of an issue with some things. I don't know what it was. The pen just seemed to kind of, I guess, grip maybe a bit more, or just something about using the Micron with this paper I didn't really love. It's kind of hard to describe. You kind of have to feel it, but it just felt a bit off to me. It also smudged just a touch, like right after you put it down, but then it dried really quick, so that was good. The next thing I tried was my Tombow marker. It was an N95. It's a water-based marker. I just wanted to see what would happen if I put a water-based marker down on this paper, and it acted pretty much what I expected from what I'm used to this marker, without going into too much detail. I wasn't surprised. It wasn't anything like grand or crazy. It did start to tear up the paper the more I colored over the same spot, which is expected from a water-based marker. Then I went in with my Artist Loft marker. It's an N2, because I just bought it and I wanted to try it out anyway. And this is where I got to really see the marker and how the paper reacts with the markers. And I also used a Copic N2. And then I think I can't remember what the green was, but it was pretty impressive. It went down very smooth, and I could even have like large gaps, and it still worked. It kind of melted together. Like, it briefly was wet, as you could see from the smudge, but it dries really, really quick, which I guess to some people that could be an advantage, and some people that could be a disadvantage. Just depends on how you work. I'm also playing around on the back of the paper. Very different. You definitely want to be making sure you're coloring on the right side of the paper. The back side, the colors, everything wouldn't absorb, so they definitely have like some different coating from the front versus the back of the paper. But anyway, it went down really smooth, and I tried having large gaps, and I was coloring really fast, expecting some streaks, and there were streaks, but it was very minimal compared to computer paper. So it was really neat to see that effect of the marker just kind of melting together and being very smooth. It went down very flat and very smooth. So that really impressed me. That was cool. And then I also tried the white gel pen on top just to see how that would handle on the paper, and that handled just fine. It handled actually better than the Micron. The Micron was still kind of weird to me. I don't know what was up with that. And then I did a little bit of a blend test in the bottom, and it blended nice. Took a few layers, and it was kind of like this weird kind of almost like painting on top of each other that I'm not used to. Like, the layering process just felt different and kind of looked different, but in the end, like, the results were
were very nice and I was happy with it. And that was essentially the test paper. I layered a couple things just to see how dark I could get, and I think I could get actually quite a bit darker than what I normally could if I layered on computer paper, but I can't remember for sure right now. But in general, for markers, I was pretty impressed in the smoothness that you would get just by quickly laying stuff down. So with minimal ink, it got really smooth, so that was impressive. And then I went ahead and just did a quick drawing of just one of my AOCs, and just to kind of get a feel for doing a drawing on this paper. Pencil went down just fantastic. Pencil was way more impressive than I was expecting. For some reason, I was expecting this not to work great with pencil, but it worked probably better than computer paper with the pencil, honestly. I was surprised. Again, the Micron just felt wrong to me. There's some sort of extra grip. I don't know. It's really weird. I wasn't happy about the Micron. That's probably one of my least favorite things about this paper, was just the Micron and how it reacted to it. I didn't try other pens. I probably should have, but for the future, I can always try other pens. But then my next problem came with actually the quickness of it drying. Like, it's great that it can get down a really smooth blend, but like, it just kind of felt like you're kind of coloring in pieces, and where things overlapped when you waited too long, it would have a bit of a dark spot. If you've worked with markers before, you kind of know. You should probably, hopefully, if I'm describing it right, know what I'm talking about. Computer paper does this exact same thing too, but I feel like computer paper, it takes a little bit longer to dry, so you have more time to wait in between, like picking a different color or just pausing for a second to move to a different spot, or you just have like a few extra seconds and you can get, I think, a smoother flat base color down. And so that was a little bit disappointing, especially since this is advertised as marker paper. And it's like, well, you have the advantage of being very smooth, but then it's hard to get down like a large area to be even. And that was basically my main other complaint. So it's essentially the Micron felt weird and was like gripping or scratchy, or I don't know if it was my Micron. I mean, I haven't had problems with it in the past, but maybe it's just so happened to be running out of ink at the same time. I don't know. Or just this paper or something. I don't know. But it didn't work well for me. And then the unevenness, if you have a large area, especially with dark colors, you can kind of get away with it a little bit better with lighter colors. But with dark colors, large areas are more difficult to manage. I also did a little bit with the Colorless Blender, and I think it laid down much better than Strathmore sketch paper in terms of like if I pick up a color from another marker and then I use the Colorless Blender and I color with that, it worked better than Strathmore paper. But I mean, I don't really know what to say about that. So I did my character, and then I did this fox in the background. Excuse the quality of the fox. This was actually my first time drawing a fox before, and there's going to be mistakes. But anyway, so then I tried to do a bit more of a lineless thing just to kind of, I don't know, play around with that. And I think it went well, aside from the fact that I probably had a poor choice in subject, just because it's hard to critique it now that I'm doing something I've never done before. But I think in general, the lineless stuff, because you can get, like, especially if you're going more realistic, I think the fact that you can get more patchy laid down in terms of the time difference between drying, I think that can work to your advantage. But if you have just, again, large flat areas you need to be filled in, you got to work so fast, or you're going to have like that bit of uneven where you paused and then colored back over. So, but I mean, aside from that, this was really nice paper. I was happy with it. It's a bit more transparent than computer paper, which I didn't really like so much, but I mean, that's not a big complaint. And it didn't seem to really like bleed through. I mean, you could, if you flip the paper over, you can see the stuff on the other side, but it's not like the same kind of bleed through you get from computer paper. So that's a plus. And I don't know. I guess it's kind of just my thoughts on this paper. It was nice. I liked it. I would like to experiment with it more in the future and just see what else I can do with it and get used to it, because it is quite a different feel. If you've used just computer paper and nothing else, this will feel different for sure. But I liked it, so yay.
The interesting thing about this is it has a giant thing of information about what this paper can be used with. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and found my thoughts hopefully interesting, or at the very least the video was entertaining. I'm definitely glad I took the opportunity to learn a bit more about a different brand and type of paper, and if you have the opportunity, if you have the money or whatever, I recommend giving it a try too, just to see, I don't know, just see what you like, see what you don't like, and kind of learn the advantages and disadvantages of a variety of options. And if you guys enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more reviews, be it on paper markers or other products, you guys can give me suggestions for products down below. And if you'd like to help fund these videos, you can help support me via Patreon or Ko-Fi or Ko-fi, however you pronounce it. I'll put links in the description down below. And if you enjoy my videos, feel free to share them with your friends. It really helps me out. And I think that's pretty much it for this video. If I missed anything, you can check out the description down below or ask any questions in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, guys! Bye!